Hey man, what's up, what's up, what's up? This is Robert Anton here bringing your xFactor commentary for the US, baby. I am still looking so forward to xFactor every week now. It is like just become a part of my existence, I'm telling you, and I am loving it. Okay, so let me tell you first up. It wasn't as exciting during boot camp, because we're into boot camp now, as the auditions. But you know what? It naturally never is. When I do American Idol commentary, I usually watch the auditions and then I come back around the top 24. Yeah, I just have to dip out because all that in between, a lot of it, I'm just not interested. They go through things too fast, you know, too many people flying by, and I just get confused. So I ain't be trying to comment on that. But I'm gonna try to stick with this for now. I think it's only 2 nights of boot camp, so you know, and it was only an hour-and-a-half show. So let me tell you what's going on. They're in boot camp. They've got several days. We're only getting 2 days, but they've got several days where they're doing it. I believe it's probably 4 or 5 or something like that. I don't know. There are 162 acts right now, and they are going down to 32. So the first cut went down to 100, right? Then they'll be split into 4 categories, and those categories will be boys, girls, over 30, and groups. Next, the judges will find out who they will be mentoring, and here we come. The judges will also be in competition with each other, just like they do on The Voice. All right, it's a lot to take in. I know, but everything kind of comes back because there's so many different shows and they all take a little bit from each other. So then they go, after boot camp, they go on to the judges' houses where I suppose they'll be mentored and they'll be working on things. They'll be getting personal advice from all the judges. So the judges will be battling each other. That is one thing that I'm liking, because I like that in The Voice because it gave an extra element to everything that was going on. So they had a big lead up and everything into what was going. They had some past shows and stuff like that, you know, some of the past performances. And then they come to day one, they're showing everybody coming in with their bags and stuff like that. And the first thing that struck me is Gina Rene. Gina Rene is Chris Renee's sister. She also made it to boot camp. So I was like, that's a very talented family. I love when I got to see her actually perform, and I think that happened that a little farther down the notes. Okay, they started learning choreography, and you know, the little rapper guy, Brian Bradley, he didn't want to learn the choreography. He's like, I'm a rapper. You don't see no rappers dancing and all that. So whatever, he didn't learn the choreography, and I guess nobody paid it much attention. Then they had each of them line up like in groups of 10, and they got on stage, and one, you know, they did the step forward thing and sing or do whatever they do and then step back. And I think he was the only one who rapped. Siameze, I wrote just a few of the things that people sang. Siameze sang More Than a Feeling. I wrote the Drew sounded great. The Rachel Crowe was killing it. Tora chose the wrong song for the judges. I thought she did okay though. You know, she sounded pretty good. And I wrote the Brewer Brothers. The Brewer Brothers had great harmony. I really enjoyed it. Chris Rene sang Sexual Healing. And it sounded good. It was on point. It was on point. And Melanie Amaro did a great rendition of Run to You. You know, this is just, they were just showing clips. And what I heard was really great. I just hope that she can do more than just Whitney. Stacy Francis held this really long, drawn out note, you know. It was good now. She was holding it together. It was staying pretty much on pitch, you know, but Simon just was like, okay, you got to learn how to pull it back, blah, 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 you know. And then it was a lot of tears during the show. Anyway, of course, Stacy started crying. So that's going to be one of her things. She's going to cry about everything. And then they cut it. They cut everybody. They cut all the people. They put them into 3 groups, and they brought each group on stage by themselves without everybody being there and told them whether they were through or not. One group ended up being cut, and the other 2 groups ended up staying. Then they threw a party for all of those who were staying. So the next day, they had a challenge. They were putting everybody together in groups, and they had to learn a song in like 5 hours, you know, and they do a little choreography, split up the parts, you know, learn the, you know, lyrics and stuff like that and do it. So this was a pretty good challenge, and I don't know, I would, because I'm not great learning lyrics, right? It takes me a little while to get them if I don't know the song already, if I'm not familiar. So they had to learn some of these from scratch. You know, those who knew the songs were very, very lucky that they knew them already. And I'm just going to list some of the groups. I'm not going to talk about everybody because it was a lot of people going through. You know, it was 100 groups, a bunch of people were going through. But I'm going to try to tell you just a little bit about what happened. The first group up did Creep by Radiohead. And it consisted of Dexter, Haygood, Drew, the Anser, Andrew Turner, Elaine, Gibbs, and Koch. And I might have missed somebody. If I missed somebody, put it down in the comments. So Drew started out the song. I wrote that he was sounding good. And Dexter was pretty good, you know, but he probably was the weakest link in the group. The Anser had great harmonies. And I wrote that the group did a really good job. Next up, the group did I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For by U2, right? And I kind of put it in a separate thing so you'll see what's going on. It was Stacy, Jazzlyn Little, Melanie Amaro, Current, Arin Ray, and a few other folks that I didn't get in. And I wrote Jazzlyn Little forgot her words, but she soldiered through. I'm like a professional. She just, you know, sang something different or sang the same thing. I don't know what she did because I don't really know the song, but it just sounded, if you didn't know the song, you just listened to the performance, you didn't know, and that's what a professional does. She just went on through it and just, she just sang something. Anything, and we do that on gigs a lot of times. You forget the words, second verse, same with the first, you know, make something up real quick until you get back into what you're doing. So that was very professional of her, in my opinion. Melanie Amaro sounded really good. She made the song, really. She made it sound very current. And I thought they had a very rousing ending. I thought it was very nice. The third group did Desperado by the Eagles, and it was Dani, Cari Fletcher, Leroy Brown, Skyelor Anderson, Paige Ogle. So I wrote Dani Knight brings it down to the front, but it was a little too low for her. Cari Fletcher, she had bad phrasing. It just wasn't great. Leroy Brown, he internalized the song. He really lived it. And I think he knew the song already, so, you know, he was already prepared for what he was going to do, which is a wonderful thing, and it really showed. Skyelor Anderson, I wrote that he showed his age. He has such a good voice, such a nice sound, but his voice sounded thin here, and it just didn't translate for me. Paige Ogle, I wrote she did very well. No, I wrote she did okay. The next group did Wishing on a Star by Jay-Z, and they were talking about how, you know, it was a rapping song, you know, with just the hook and everything, and that more people were going to rap and some had never rapped before. So I didn't write a lot about everybody. You know, the hook sounded good. I thought that the whole thing together was really exciting. I liked it. It was one of the best performances all together for me. A little messy, a little this person jumping on that person and stuff like that, but it was like a live performance. It was very, very entertaining to me. It had a lot of energy. It was Brian Bradley, Jennifer Joy Nichols, Raina Williams, and Tanukin and Lauren Ashley, and I might have forgotten someone because it was flying by so fast. But I wrote Raina Williams did very good. I thought, of course, Brian just kind of killed it. He was one of the people that was just coming in, jumping on some of everything, kind of like a hype man. Though it was on point for me. It might have been a little overdone, you know, but I thought it brought some heat. And I wrote, this was hot, because I really enjoyed it. The next group up did Superman, and it was Nick Dean, Josh Kresick, Tiger Bud Bill, the group Complete, James Kinney, and again, maybe a few other people. Nick Dean I thought was a little rough, and he forgot his words. Josh came out blazing. I mean, he just blew it. Boom, he was on point there, present, ready, you know, and accounted for. He's probably the best for me of the group. Tiger Bud Bill didn't sound supported at first, you know. He seemed like he didn't either he didn't have his breath or he was trying to remember the lyrics, one or the other. But you could tell he was a little tentative, but it got stronger as he went along. And James Kinney sounded a little off to me. The final harmony was sweet. I really liked that. The next group did Feeling Good. It was Philip Lomax, Nick Voss, Sherry Spriggs, Tia Tolliver, Austin Simmons, and Kelly Warner. And, you know, I didn't write a lot about everything in the group. I thought altogether that it was a mess. I mean, it just sounded off. It was all kinds of pitch problems all over the place. And I mean, just about everybody. And it was just a bit too much. And I don't know, it may have been the way they edited too. I was watching for that. It might have been some of that, but it was off for me. Tia Tolliver, I felt like she overdid it, but she had a lot of attitude and she really brought it. She was trying to show that, you know, I am here to win. And it was, you know, I think she's gonna make it through, but, you know, just the voice isn't all that it could be. The next group did I Have Nothing by Whitney Houston. They were saying, oh, this was the hardest song and all that good stuff. Yeah, it was Rachel Crowe, the group Illusion Confusion, the group For Sure, Alona Santiago, Daquan Allen, Joshua Maddox, Haley Arantia. Okay, actually, I thought that they had some good choreography and they had pretty good harmonies. There was lots of flubs on the words. A lot of people were flubbing their words on this song. And I know this one really well, so yeah, I heard every little time that they messed something up, right? I wrote Alona Santiago sounded good. I've never seen her before, and I thought she was a very good addition to the show. Daquan Allen. He starts and fumbles his words, and I you know, that's the only thing that I wrote, and that's the only thing that I remembered. But out of everything, you know, I just thought that overall it was okay. It was okay. And last up, they did Light Up, and it was Siameze, Floyd, the Stereo Hogs, McKenna and Brock, Emily Michalik, I think, Jeremy Pagan. So yeah, I liked at the end where they were sounding like a chorus. I mean, they sounded really tight, you know, they had some harmony going on. And besides that, Siameze Floyd started it out, and he was very laid back, kind of sedate for what we saw from him the last time. But you could hear his voice, and he has a very nice, pleasing voice. McKenna and Brock sounded good. Emily Michalik was nervous, but she's 12 years old, and she has such a clear, beautiful, powerful voice. I really enjoyed it. And that is what I have for the notes for this show. Everything was flying by so fast. It was only an hour-and-a-half show, but it was interesting. Like I said, not as great as the auditions. I think they could show a little more of the people learning and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought that it was good. It wasn't as much drama. And did you enjoy it? That's what I want to know. I am still so excited about the show. Did you enjoy it? What more would you like to see them bring to this kind of thing? I know they pretty much edited everything and all that. But if you are also watching the UK version or any other version, what did you think was a little different? Was there a lot of difference in the talent and the way that they put everything together? One thing that I thought about them doing the whole group thing, you know, they're supposed to be working on style, you know, their look, their sound, you know. But as far as the groups, it was more a lot of them one stepping forward, the next coming, then the next coming. It wasn't a whole lot of uniformity group-wise, and I know they only had 5 hours to get it together, but most of them didn't even have harmonies and stuff like that. So, you know, it's just kind of showcasing one, then showcasing the next, then showcasing the next, and that's not really a group number. Yeah, but besides that, that's all I got. I am Robert Anton, robertanton.com, and I hope that you're enjoying the commentary. Tell me what you were thinking. That's what I am here. I am here just to tell you a little bit of what I'm thinking as a performer, as a singer, songwriter, as a professional, I should say, paid performer for the last 20 years. And I also want to hear what you think and who are your favorites and who you think are the standouts. All right, I'm out.